You know what it looks like, Director? It looks like you won't answer some pretty basic questions. It looks like you got a 9% raise and you cut corners when it came to protecting one of the most important individuals, most well-known individuals on the planet.
I just don't think this is partisan. If you have an assassination attempt on a president, a former president, or a candidate, you need to resign.
Transparency. That's why Jim Jordan is right. That's why Ro Khanna is one of the leaders of the future of the Democratic Party, because he's not playing sides. Secret Service Director Kim Cheatle gave about as unsatisfactory a performance as we've seen in one of those hearings. That isn't just overtly political nonsense chasing your opponents. If she doesn't resign or isn't taken out, the Democrats are going to have a problem. Bipartisan beatdown. Why? Because somebody tried to kill former President Donald Trump, and there, but for the grace, would have been successful. She couldn't answer what the plan was and why the plan failed, and gave this real disingenuous take on the roofs and the challenges, and then all these members of Congress were clumping around up there. Why is this so dangerous? Because of what happened to Trump, and it's not getting enough attention, but also because when you say, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know, you know what happens? Conspiracies. And now they're running amok. So let's do what we can to separate fact from fugazi here, okay? This was staged by Trump. Look, shortly after the shooting, a picture went viral showing Trump's Secret Service agents smiling moments after the shooting. People claim this is proof that it was staged. That is a digitally altered photo. It is BS. Do you understand? Then, there are many who say Trump didn't actually get shot. He only got hit by a piece of a broken glass from the teleprompter. First of all, if that happened to me, all you'd hear about was that I just got almost taken out because of a bullet. I don't care if it's a shard of glass. The photos show none of the teleprompters were damaged. So even if you were right and you're not, it still shouldn't matter. A New York Times photojournalist was able to capture the moment that the bullet whizzed past Trump's head. New York Times, friend of Trump? I don't think so. Then, the day of the shooting, a Republican member of Congress claims Biden ordered the assassination. Okay? Because Biden said it's time to put Trump in a bullseye, which he then apologized for, which he didn't need to. It's how people talk in politics. Listen to Trump. Only if you spend 5 minutes reading the article the congressman retweeted, you'd know that Biden was speaking to his donors, not military officials. The latest theory circulating online is that Crooks, the 20-year-old who did the shooting, was trained by the government at the local gun range. The reality? The range happened to offer classes to law enforcement and retired police officers. So, you got to put the BS aside. It's just feeding the fringe, the destruction of our dialogue. We got to get past it. There's nothing wrong with saying, thank God Trump didn't get killed that day. There's nothing wrong, and there's everything wrong with saying anything else. Joining us now for some perspective on how this job was supposed to be done and what it means, former special agent with the Secret Service, Paul Eckloff. Paul, am I wrong about Cheatle? Do you believe that what she did today and how she represented herself is befitting the station?
Chris, Director Cheatle's performance in the hearing was clearly unacceptable. She did not have the proper answers. She's not a trained media person as well. And I would say that some of the answers that they were demanding would compromise the investigation, or they would compromise national security by giving away tactics, techniques, and procedures of the Secret Service. And they could endanger the men and women who are on the field today, keeping President Trump safe. Your point and your passion about these conspiracies, I could not agree with you more. I am enraged. As a former Secret Service agent of 23 years, I was the assistant special agent in charge of the Donald Trump detail. I was on his campaign. I traveled the world with him and his family. I would caveat that by saying I had that same role under President Obama with his children, him. We live in a world that would judge my statements as being partisan or not based on the color of my tie. Notice the color that I chose on purpose. I chose red, white, and blue, and I know from your reporting for decades and from your passion, I wish more people would concentrate on what we need are answers on how to make the Secret Service better. Kim Cheatle does not have the faith and confidence of the men and women of the Secret Service, nor the faith and confidence of the men and women of America. And Americans are scared. It's really interesting that what I've seen is people want to feel safe. They want to feel secure when they go to these sites. They believe the Secret Service can protect them. The Secret Service failed that father and that lost his life, the two individuals that were shot. They certainly failed President Trump and his family. They failed America, and they failed themselves.
Do you have any reason to believe, Paul, that this was not misfeasance, mistakes, negligence, not doing the job the right way under these circumstances, and now the step to the dark side that too many people want to pursue, which is this was on purpose. Crooks wasn't working alone. It's like all very Kennedy-esque, the JFK-esque assassination plot. Do you have any reason to believe anything like that at this point?
I do not. And I have a different perspective than some people. And it is funny. I started my career in Dallas, Texas. I have been to the school book depository and I've looked out the 6-story window. I could take that shot with a handgun. But Americans, when they don't understand things, they look to magical answers. I find conspiracies constructive. Some of the things, it's called lateral thinking in science. You look at things a little differently than other people. They may be ridiculous, but then you can examine them. People are saying that the water tower, I mean, they've seen that in movies, but if there have been shots from the water tower, we'd have seen injuries in a certain area of the crowd that we did not. The people that were shot were in the direct line of sight from where this shooter was. I don't call myself an expert. I never would, which is funny because I'm probably the only person on the air with the 14 years with the president that I have. And as I examine it, I will just give you my personal opinion on what the reason and why the shooter did what he did. We need to apply Occam's razor. When all other things are equal, generally it's the simplest answer is the truth. This was an individual who was horribly bullied in high school. And one of the reasons he was bullied was because he was a bad shot and dangerous on the range. What did he do in the ensuing 3 years? He went to the shooting range, became a decent shot. Thank God he didn't go there long enough to become an excellent shot, though there are YouTube videos that have recreated the shot and shown that the red dot sights that he used would have been the size of President Trump at the time. So he did his best. And he went out that day. That day it happened to be President Trump. From his internet searches, and I have no special knowledge, I have the news reporting, which some of it's been excellent. It could have been anybody. He chose proximity. He was from Butler, Pennsylvania. So, of course, if President Trump comes to Butler, Pennsylvania, how do you best prove to your colleagues who bullied you? You show them you're a good shot. It's terrifying, it's simple, and it's sad. Mental health is a crisis in America. Access to weapons is a crisis in America. Now, I'm a firm believer in the Second Amendment. I don't believe that just taking any gun away, but I also believe I know the first fault that led to this and perhaps the final fault. The first fault is more systemic. Why did the Secret Service allow this site to occur? I've done a vulnerability assessment of it myself. Perhaps it's an armchair quarterback, but I would caution those that would discredit me that I'm a quarterback that has played every position on the field and thrown the ball for this team. I identified at least 12 other buildings with a line of sight just as problematic. It would have taken over 200 officers to secure those buildings and their rooftops. The problem is the closest building. Had there been a counter surveillance advance and team and a protective intelligence division advance and team, I believe we could have thwarted this. I would have photographed it. I would have photographed it and I would have prevented access to that roof. The final error was access to the roof and the time it took to identify and stop the threat. I will tell you, full stop. As soon as the Secret Service counter sniper officer technician saw the individual, the assassin with a rifle, as soon as he was able, he took a shot, a remarkable shot, and killed the assassin.
Paul Eckloff, I appreciate your candor. I appreciate your participation, and it's to be continued. As we learn more, I would love to have you back to give context and understanding to the audience. Thank you for doing so tonight, and I love your time.
I'd be honored.
Appreciate you. All right. Listen, I got to tell you, I hope you appreciated the people you got to hear from tonight. Nobody knows better than that guy. That guy, John Morgan, I've never heard anybody on TV explain what I know from all my years in living it, how money works and how politics works in the Democratic Party. Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to newsnationnow.com, newsnationnow.com, and you can find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button down below. Then you will get more of News Nation's fact-driven coverage.